This is my attempt to start a vlog. I don't even know what a vlog is, but from what I can tell on the YouTube platform is that people talk about their daily lives and their feelings and the things that they encounter, the new things they learn and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking about this. Should I do a vlog? Am I cut off for this? I don't know until I try it. And I'm one of those type of people that just need to try things. And if they don't work, then I let it go. But if it works, then I'll keep going. That's how I think a vlog starts off anyway. I'm sure everybody doesn't start off with, a perfect vlog every time. Vlog. And there's a reason why I want to do a vlog. And that is to talk about what's going on from a hard of hearing person's perspective. And there are many topics out there that I want to talk about because I want people to know about the struggles with a person with hearing loss. If we think about it, there's 48 million people in the United States alone that has hearing loss. That's 1 out of 8 people that will have hearing loss that you may encounter. Anybody that's over the age of 12 and you encounter or talk to 8 people, 1 of those people are going to have hearing loss. That's crazy. And this is not the topic of this vlog. I don't even know what the sign is for vlog. I would suppose you would just spell it out. So anywho, the theme behind my vlog is we're going to talk about things. The titles will all be, let's talk about this, or let's talk this, or so I'll pick a topic and I will say, let's talk whatever the topic will be. And this vlog is going to be about the pandemic. Let's talk pandemic. Going through the pandemic with hearing loss. Not an easy thing to do. There are quite a few things that I have experienced that were positive and then some that were not so positive. For an example, where I work, people are super accommodating. They'll do what they can to help me understand during meetings, during Zoom meetings, or while I'm in a conference room, they'll accommodate whatever accommodations I bring in. Positive thing at work is that they're very accepting and allow me to do any kind of accommodation. The flip side of that is that I bring my own accommodations to work. I make sure that I have a microphone that I can use in a conference room. I make sure that my hearing aids are tip-top and that I've been to the audiologist to have my programs programmed in a way that I could hear better. I even bought new hearing aids during the pandemic to see if I can hear better. And the number one reason why I went to my audiologist, and many other people have during the pandemic, is because of the mask. If you have the mask, you can't see my lips. You can't see my lips. So the mask has been a big barrier for people with hearing loss to hear. And it's so super and frustrating to be able to try to hear somebody through a mask. It is not that it only covers the lips. It is also kind of a filter, a buffer against the voice so that you can't hear the voice traveling at a normal frequency, if you will. So if somebody has hearing loss and they can't catch that frequency because it's being blocked by the mask, that makes it very difficult to hear. And then you add the fact that they can't hear or read lips to help them hear better. So the combination of the mask covering the lips, and then the barrier of the mask stopping the sound waves coming from the mouth, your speech, and stopping some of those frequencies that we need to hear in order to make sense, making sense of what's being said so that we can hear better. This is an example of how I sometimes encounter people when I talk about the weather. I'll give you 2 examples.
The weather outside today, in one word, is gray. It's overcast, there's rolling clouds, it's slightly humid. If I were going out, I would probably bring with me a long sleeve shirt.
We're talking about the weather today. It is cloudy. There's a chance of showers coming in the future, near future, maybe today. So I suggest you wear a rain jacket, maybe with a hood on it so you won't get wet. If you don't want to get wet, don't go outside with a mask on, with absolutely no expression. Why do people talk without any expression? Like they don't move their face around at all. They don't move their face around at all. They just blink and move their mouth behind a mask. So that makes it super hard because as a person with hearing loss, I rely big on body movements and facial expressions and the way somebody smiles or doesn't smile. There's all these different visual cues that we depend on to try to piece together the mood, the topic, the conversation, what's going on. We try to put it together like a puzzle, right? So it's not easy to try to do all that when you have your face covered and then you have somebody that is just I would just ask somebody, can you please make some kind of movement? Like, can you move your face a little bit? Can you move your arms a little bit? Do gestures. You don't have to do American Sign Language or any kind of sign language that you know, but you can do something like go there or hello or what's up. You know, I mean, these are universal gestures that anybody can use. You don't have to know sign language. Yeah, if you know sign language, that would be cool. You know, I'm not fluent in sign language, but I know some sign language. So if somebody tries to communicate with me in sign language, it's going to benefit me one way or another. It may not understand them completely, especially somebody who is fluent in sign language. I'd be like, whoa, 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 slow down. So having this kind of, you know, even when you're wearing the mask and you're talking to somebody, have some kind of gesture, like try to do anything, put some emphasis in, put some mood into it, put some, like you're excited to try to communicate with me. Then you have the person with the mask that has no expression. That's really, really tough. All right, I don't care about the weather anymore. I'm not even going to hear you talk about the weather because I don't understand you. You're not making any expression. You're covering your mouth. And the weather, yeah, I'll go outside and figure it out myself. The second thing is somebody who has a mask on and then they try to do some gestures or some sign language.
The weather outside today is gray, it's overcast, it's clouds, puffy clouds. It's neither hot nor is it cold. It could change at any minute. If the sun peeked out, it might be hot. So a short sleeve shirt is perfect right now. If it rains or if it gets the temperature drops a little bit, you might require a long sleeve shirt, maybe a hat and a coat in case there's a shower. It looks like it could shower.
So outside it's a little gray, there's some clouds going. You might get a little bit of rain, so I suggest you wear a jacket, maybe with a hood on it so you won't get wet. Then maybe I will be a little bit more interested in listening to you. It gets very, very frustrating when you have somebody that does not want to be animated, like they just put it out there, like just do something, just don't be a robot, you know. And then you have the person that does take the mask off, bloop, and there they are. They're just looking at you and they're, how are you today? You know, the weather is.
The weather outside today, in one word, is gray. Gray, it's overcast. It seems like it could change one way or the other very easily. If the sun came out, it might become hot and humid, or if it gets a little darker, or if the temperature drops a little bit, you might require a long sleeve shirt or a jacket.
We're talking about the weather today. It is gray and it looks like it's going to rain, so bring a jacket out there if you don't want to get wet. Boom. So there's another thing is like, even when you're not wearing a mask, it's really, really helpful if somebody could just move their body, you know, do gestures and anything, move your eyebrows, you know, smile or any of that kind of stuff. Even when you're wearing a mask and you smile and you have these little lines on the side, call it something. Smiles, smiles, smile, aisles, smiles, smize, is it smize? Smize. There was one article about it that, you know, those are happy lines that you have. I'm very proud of them. At least I will know that you're a happier person, that you're smiling at me. But if you're not doing any of these nice smile wrinkles, or don't go outside, I think you're just pissed off. Or boring for that matter. And then you have the person who is without a mask, with the signing or the gestures, and they're totally engaging, and you have everything available to you. You have the lips available to you, you have the eyebrows, you know, moving up and down.
The weather outside today is gray, it's overcast, there's big gray clouds, rolling clouds, there's no sunshine. It's not hot or is it cold? If the temperature were to drop a little bit at this point, I think it would get a little chilly. You might need a long sleeve shirt. It could even rain, maybe a jacket and a hat.
It looks like it's got some clouds going on. It's a little bit gray, but it is humid out. I'll wear a short sleeve shirt. It might rain a little bit later, so go ahead and bring a jacket with a hood so that you won't get wet. Or you can just stay inside if you don't want to get wet. You have the facial expressions, whether you're smiling or you're frowning. You have where the eyes go, if you're going to be looking at something or you're thinking, that type of thing. And then you have the whole body movement. There are definitely body movements that we all know that are universal. If you are down and out and depressed, you're going to be rounding up. But if you're up and upright and confident, you know, so there's different ways to show how to communicate with somebody who has hearing loss. So this is something that would be the same for anybody who is hearing too. right? I've heard people tell me that, ever since the mask went on, they lost something and they weren't quite sure what they were losing. Well, they're not getting the smiles. Yeah, so it's been really, really difficult during the pandemic to understand people. Like I said, people at work have been very accommodating. They do whatever they can to help me here during meetings, or my patients, they're talking one-on-one with me. Even if they have their mask on, I have my microphone, or I have my hearing aids, or my streamer. I have all kinds of things that I can do to communicate and listen to my patient. So work has been fantastic, but I did have to put the extra work in. I had to accommodate myself. I had to bring my own accommodations to work. And some people would go out of their way and ask for accommodations, like, buy me a stethoscope so I can hear at work. Well, that's not something I would do. It has to be a reasonable accommodation, right? A reasonable accommodation is a loud room with a bunch of people and it's echoey. They should be able to put closed captioning on the video so that you can understand or whatnot. So especially for like Zoom, they should be able to put captioning on the Zoom meetings. That's an accommodation that's reasonable, right? But if you have somebody that is coming in and demanding buy my stethoscope when they chose that profession, that it might be a little weird, right? So maybe you can find a boss or a place that you work that would actually buy you a stethoscope. That'd be cool. Other things that I have asked for is having a quiet room to work. If I have a lot of people working, it is not because of my hearing. It is mainly because I need quiet areas so that I can focus on my work. When I'm taking care of patients, I have to make sure that I do some research. I might have to consult with a specialist. I might have to prescribe medication, so forth and so on. And I can't be distracted by all the kinds of talk around me. So that's accommodation that I have requested, and it's been granted. It has been given to me, and I think it's so important to be able to talk to other people about your struggles. Now, I am a very private person, so even doing this vlog is making my neck turn red, I'm sure. But doing this will allow me to get the stuff off my chest. It's been a year and a half that we've had this pandemic, and I'm now just talking about it. That's just like crazy, right? The Delta variant is back, and people are starting to freak out. The masks are coming back on certain places. I just went to the doctor's office the other day, and they had their mask with the plexiglass, and I'm like, very monotone. There's no expressions. There's nothing. They're behind a computer, so that adds a barrier. So you add all these different barriers, and I'm not interested in what you have to say. Just tell me where to go to get my damn mammogram, or tell me where to go see my doctor. Just point to the room and I'll go in there and sit down and I'll chat with my doctor. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, because of the limited access to hear people by visual, or not getting the full wave of voice to me, those frequencies coming to me. It's caused a little anxiety. So mental health is definitely increasing since the pandemic. People with hearing loss, there's a lot of mental health consequences sometimes, right? So when you can't hear something, it's frustrating. When you can't understand something, it's frustrating. And then you start to bluff. Bluffing is a real thing. You just, yep, sure. And if you see somebody else laugh, you laugh too. It's like one of those things where, bluffing is more, my bluffing has increased depending on the situation. I mean, if it's something to do with like work and my patients, and I'm like, you have to repeat that 100 times before, I let that go. Like, I need to understand. So, especially at work, I'm going to make sure that they repeat as many times as I need them to, so that I understand what's going on with my patient and that I can give the best care I can. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it's extra work. I'm so tired sometimes that sometimes I can't think through my anxiety. I can't think through my depression. And, I'm not diagnosed with depression, but I definitely felt a little bit depression during this time. And I think that that's a normal thing that people are feeling, because they had less contact with their family, their socialization is less. And forget socialization. I've been, going to think about socializing. I'm like, yeah, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I just don't want to have to put more effort into how I hear than I already am. I'm tired. So I don't know about you, but if you're feeling tired or you have some experience that you want me to talk about, put them down in the comments below, because I really want to be able to get this stuff off. I want somebody to hear me. I want somebody to tell me that they relate so we don't feel like we're alone. That's the big thing, is that people with hearing loss are just kind of like isolating themselves or getting frustrated. I can't even go to, Home Depot or to a garden store to talk to somebody because they're either wearing a mask or, sir, hello, sir. I'm looking for some flowers, particularly roses. I want to buy some roses, so.
There's some in here. There's
Okay.
some over there. There's down in here.
So I can't hear you.
Yeah, over here and down in here.
So,
Down in there. These are the American Beauty roses. And over here, natural roses, organic roses.
they have their back to me and or they stay 6 feet apart so I can't hear them. And so what type of roses are those?
These are the American Beauty roses.
All these different scenarios, and it's so frustrating, right? So think about that. I don't know if this is a vlog. If this is a vlog, oh boy, you're in for a ride. Let's talk pandemic. I want to talk about the pandemic, so let's talk pandemic with hearing loss. Yeah, so trying to just be able to do it, believe it, it's real. The mental health or the toll that it has on our brains is incredible. I'm very much of a doer. I'm a worker. I have strong work ethics. When I can't get my work done because I can't hear something, it pisses me off like you wouldn't believe. I have things to get done. And sometimes when I have to spend that extra time to hear something, then I get really like, ee. No, so this is a vlog. I thought my dog is barking. My dog is scratching at my door. Are you over there? Come here. Good boy. It's a good boy. Come here. It's a good boy. So that's my attempt to do these vlogging things. If this is something that interests you, then okay, awesome. Then I'll keep going. Next topic, I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'll see you next week and we'll talk about something that I think about. It's very strange to be talking to a camera this close, but I'm imagining that you guys are looking at me and that you guys are nodding and understanding, and or you're saying this girl's whacked, whatever, maybe. So I can't see you, but I know you're there. All right, so this is my vlog, and I'm Dee Dee, and I'll see you next week.